Oh, and is Betty here with us? Good afternoon and welcome for this online webinar session. My name is Andrew Chesire, and and welcome and thank you for joining us. Today we are going to talk about
Hi, Andrew.
yes, yes. Yes, apologies for that, viewers. I seem to have lost my connection. Yes, let me start again. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us. My name is Andrew Chesire. I will be your moderator for this session. I thank you all for spending your time here with us, and I'm really grateful that you've decided to join us and be with us during this session. We'll have our speaker, Betty Keitany Koech. Let me just give you a brief introduction of who she is and what she has done in the past. Betty Keitany Koech, she is a facilitator, she is a mentor, she is a coach, she is a speaker at the Lead Catalyst Limited, and she's also the former marketing director with Unilever, and she was also the former sales and marketing director with G4S security companies. So we have someone who has been in the business of personal branding for a while, and we are happy to have you, Betty. And yes, we will have a short icebreaker. We'll have a short icebreaker just to get a gist of exactly what you're going to do here. And yes, and I think our first question, the worker will be sharing with us is, how would you describe yourself in one word? In case you're wondering what this is, let me just give you a brief introduction of how you can be able to answer this question. Just go to www.menti.com and there's the option on your Google. Just try it on your phone, on your laptop. You can open another tab, and yes, when you do the search on your phone or on your laptop, www.menti.com, there's the option of join session. There's along the links you'll be provided. There's an option of join the session, join session. Just click on it, and you use the code 990819. And yeah, from then on, you can be able to give your responses, and Betty and I and the rest of the panel will be able to have the answers in real time. So yes, I can give you like 2 minutes just to familiarize yourself. I know I've caught you off guard, but yes, you can start putting in your answers. I see someone already has passionate. If anyone else has anything else to add on how you describe yourself in one word, yes, we can have the responses coming in. Uh, Maybe it might take a bit of time, but so far we're excited that we had gone through we can see you have self-disciplined, we have centennial. Wow. Thank you so much. Betty, I hope you're looking at those answers. Yes. Anyone else? So yeah, I like the person who's described him or herself as passionate. Yeah, well, I can see this generous. Wow. If I think after this session, if you could be able to take me out for lunch, I'd be most welcome. To the generous person, thank you so much. Yes, we have a human. If you describe yourself as human, that's true. We're all human beings. It's in our human nature. And human, is it human in a more vulnerable way or just human as a human being? Betty, I hope you're getting to see this. And yeah, and I'd also like Betty to just say hi in the meanwhile as we're answering the question. So Betty, we can have it over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, listeners. Thank you, Andrew, for the great introduction. I'm looking forward to engaging with everyone on Zoom LinkedIn and on Facebook Live.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. Thank you so much, Betty. And you could join. We have the event online. We have it on Heartfulness Africa on Facebook. You can also stream it live on YouTube. And yes, and you could also join us on the Zoom meeting as well. And I think with those answers, we could now go to Betty. We don't want to take too much time because she's the MVP of this event. She's the most valuable player. So I think I can hand over the platform for you. You have seen how people have described themselves here. And yes, we can now move forward and you can take the stage for us, Betty. So thank you so much. Yes.
A big thank you to you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Listeners, I'm very excited to engage with you on this topic, how to build a successful personal brand. Simon Sinek said that if you want to be successful in anything, you must start with the reason why. And I know when you signed in to this session this morning, you have a reason why you're going to spend the next 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes engaging with us on this topic. And sometimes the reason why is not really very obvious. The reason why you want to build your personal brand, is it because you want to be more visible? You want to stand out? Is it because you want to attract more business if you run your own business? Is it because you want to build your credentials and become more attractive to a recruiter? But to get the real why, many times you have to peel it like an onion. You need to go into analyzing further. Why? So when I get that job, what does that mean? I wanted to put it to all of us that we are part of a greater universe. And as part of a greater universe, each one of us has arrived here on planet Earth, packaged with gifts, with talents, and over time, we have acquired knowledge, skills, and experiences. And all this is vital for the entire universe success. And so the key reason, if you were to look for the underlying reason why really it is very important to build a successful personal brand, may not be because you want to stand out and get more opportunities and get more money. You want to contribute to the greater universe. Because I can tell you somebody out there needs what you have. Each one of us is a brand. Each one of us has a unique DNA. If you are an artist, a painter, a musician, I can tell you for sure, there is nobody who will paint the way you do. If you are a musician, your songs, if they inspire me to be very creative, if they bring out the best in me, if they cause me to relax and to enjoy life, then by you not standing up, by you not bringing out your brand, you may be denying me access to what gifts and talents were put inside of you. And so I hope with that introduction, we can all see that we are all unique, just like the way our fingerprints are. I speak, I train, but my style and what I bring on the table is very different to somebody else because I have my personal brand. And another trainer, another speaker, another coach has their own unique personal brand. So I'm hoping with that introduction, we are looking at this from understanding ourselves more into who am I and how then do I optimize what I have so that it can benefit. I can be a channel. I can be a conduit of making a better world. I want now to move to getting us to understand our brand. And that is right. Of course, they are human. Thank you very much. I'm looking at him and he's very serious there. Personal brand. What is it? What do, and I want of us to put ourselves in a room. Andrew, I can see you leading forward. Am I audible?
Yeah, we lost you a bit. Could you just go back just 2 minutes? There seem to be a lag a bit. Yes.
Okay, is that clear now?
Yes, we're clear now. Yes.
Sorry about that. So we were at the point where we're defining our personal brand. And I said I appreciated the impromptu question and how you were able to define yourself as generous, as passionate. And I want us to be in a room with people who know us. These are your family, these are your colleagues, these are your friends. This is a community in which you live in. And I'll ask Dee to put up that slide on. Thank you. On what do others say about you when you are not in the room? So I want you to step out of the room very briefly, not physically, a room which has people who know you. And I'd like you to share with us on the screen using the menti.com. Share with us, what do they say about your passion? What do they say about your passion? I'm waiting to see your responses. Thank you, Ritu. You're confirming that it's stable. What do people say about your passions? I'm waiting for your feedback. I said this will be an engaging chat. We are going to talk about building a successful personal brand. Wow, talkative. I can see talkative person, hyperactive. I'd like to see more responses. Can we engage? They'd say that you're an optimistic person. Yes. A few more responses on what people would say about your passion. I can see people are typing. I'm waiting for you. I'm very adventurous. I'd like to look at what you value. What do people say? The people you left in the room, what do they say you value most? Perhaps that I don't do everything I say I can, but I have a good heart. Thank you for being vulnerable and telling us how you feel. Yes. What would they say you value? The code is on your screen, 990819. Please share your responses. What would they say you value? Code 990819. Do they know what you value? Okay, I'm seeing people are typing on the chat. So
Yeah,
I'll pick the
yeah,
answers from the chat. I'm wishing that it was also on the screen. Yes, that I value the most is my family, friends, and anyone I associate with. So that is your brand. What do they say are your unique skills? What would people say are your unique skills? Okay, people say I'm too eager. What do people say about your unique skills? The code is 990819. Okay, I want to move to something else. What do they say about your character? Somebody is saying I'm fun-loving, I'm bubbly, wonderful. What do they say about your character? I'm waiting for 2 more responses. We have a lot to cover. The code is 990819. Okay. So somebody may not be very comfortable there with their skills. I can relate to anyone. Thank you. I can see people are struggling with the 990819. They're using the chat more. Feel free to use the chat box if you're not able to use the menti.com. Thank you. They say I'm caring. So already you can see that people have impressions about who you are. And I want to ask you, what is missing on that slide? What are they not saying about you, which is true? What don't they know about you? I'm waiting for a few responses. What do you see missing? People say I'm caring and hardworking. What do you see missing on that slide? You can see the same slide that I have on this side. There are chances, there are things that people are not able to bring out that are inherent in you, that constitute your personal brand. There are also things that people may have about you that may not really be true about your personal brand. And this is because they have been formed by the impression that they have about you. And this is one thing about personal branding, that when we do not influence, when we do not communicate what our personal brand is, people will just infer from what they observe, from what they hear. They'll just infer and make assumptions. And some of those assumptions may be wrong. And they stick with them with regard to you. In a work environment, for example, they may think that you don't take your work seriously, that you're a lazy person, but because of the way they have perceived you. If you are a student, they may think that you don't put in your best. So the reason why it is important to communicate a brand is because you want to put impressions on that brand. You want to define it, to shape it. You want to make it clear to everybody what that brand stands for. I want to give you another definition for personal branding. That personal branding is your uniqueness communicated to your stakeholders in a way that is relevant and meaningful. The word I want to bring out there is your stakeholders. So I want to ask you a question. Yes, who are your stakeholders? D, if you can put that question up, who are your stakeholders? When you're thinking about your personal brand and you want to make an impression. I'm told the slide is not active. If we can have the slide active. So when you're thinking about your target audience, who are your immediate target audience now? You can use the chat box if you're having problems in using the mentee.com. Who is your target audience? My family and my friends. Okay, thank you very much. It is active, beautiful. D has confirmed it is active. So somebody has said that their audience is their family and friends. Who else? Friends, yes. Is anybody in business here who probably is targeting customers? Do we have artists on the floor? Do we have people who are in leadership in organizations? Okay, so when you are looking at students, the youth, the children, that's my target audience. Beautiful, they're all now flowing in. People around me, companies, that is somebody who is in business, or that could be somebody who is working. Yes, because they want to be perceived in a right way, even if they are looking at making career moves. Thank you very much. So that is the other definition of personal branding, understanding personal branding, that it is your uniqueness communicated to your audience in a way that is relevant. I also want to share the other definition of personal branding. People interested in personal growth. That is beautiful. I can see that. So the other definition on personal branding is the impression that you make on people. Impressions that you make on people. And I have said that these impressions may be the right impressions or the wrong impressions if they are not communicated well. I would want us to take a leader that we can all connect with. The people we have here have tuned in from over 55 countries in Africa. So I want to use a character that each one of us can relate with. And I want to take a leader probably who you have been seeing a lot because they are in a very elective season and you have been hearing them communicate. And I'm saying this because I've used communication as one of the ways of cutting through on what your brand is. So I want to use a leader. And let's take the biggest country, this country that says that they are the biggest country in the world. Let's look at the US, for example. I'm bringing this exercise for us to just understand how to define a brand. And I want us to just look at this leader, the current leader of the US. And I just want us to be able to pick those attributes I shared on the screen. What do you think Trump is passionate about? You all know Trump. The US has been active. I have not used Joe Biden because he's not been, you've not maybe interacted with him a lot. But Trump is somebody who you can use for personal branding a lot. So what do you think he stands for? Business, yes. And Ritnam is speaking that a lot because his background, he's been a serial entrepreneur. So you can see the work you do speaks a lot in amplifying a personal brand. Could I have more responses on that? I've said that when we look at a brand, okay, that is somebody's perception for economy and growth. Yes. Yes. What do you see in terms of his skills and his experiences? I want us to use it only for the purpose of defining a brand. Skills and experiences. What do you think they bring for skills and experiences? Yes. Let me minimize the chat box. I'm seeing a response there that he's very thorough. Thank you for that feedback. Yes. What else do you think that leader stands for? I hear the leader communicating about making America great again. Yes. I hear about creating more jobs. I hear about healthcare. So what I'm trying to put to you here is you have not met Trump in person, but when it comes to defining a personal brand, you can be able to pick all that from the history, from the present, and from the future. And so personal branding is really what the impressions the person has made on you. And lastly, I want to give you the fourth definition of personal branding, and that it is everything about you. Everything about you. So what do I mean by that? By everything, I mean personal branding communicates what is inside of you. But when I meet you, I can tell what type of a person you are within 2 seconds of meeting you, just from the way you present yourself. And I think, listeners, this says that we have to pay a lot of attention to everything that we do. When you wake up in the morning and you want to dress up, is it in line with your brand? When you speak and communicate, is it in line with your brand? Yes. Your personality, is it in line with your brand? Everything about you. If you look at successful people, it is where they stay, what car they drive. Everything is a statement. And so personal branding, you cannot only take it to mean one aspect of yourself. It is how you walk when you're in that office. Does it communicate a sense of urgency? If it is about your giftings, how do you bring that out? I'm hoping you're getting this, that personal branding is everything about you. But when it comes to looking at the brand essence, it is like filing a nail. It really takes a lot of time and interrogation over a long period of time to be able to distill your brand and say, it is this one particular thing. Listeners, I now want to move to the next segment where I discuss the brand protocols. And brand protocols, I mean the mandatory criteria for a brand to succeed. Brand protocol. The first protocol is that a brand must be authentic. Now, I have seen some people who are very eager to build a big following online. And what they end up doing is that they may compromise their values. They may compromise what they stand for. And what they end up doing is creating a fake person who is not really them. Now, that is killing a brand because everyone, as I said, is unique. And what you do by building a business, a personal brand, is that you bring out your brand in its authenticity. Yes. A reminder to everybody to continue putting their questions or their views on the chat box. Thank you, Dee, for that. So authenticity is very critical. You must be who you are. You cannot fake it and win. The second protocol that I want to share with you is that a brand must be consistent. Consistency means if you have defined your brand and said, this is what my brand is, you must be consistent all through. Let me give you a very simple example. You cannot say, for example, I am this bubbly and this very engaging, outgoing person, and then change that and become this very quiet and reclusive person. So to be consistent, defining your brand enables you to be able to know what is inside, what is outside your brand, so that you always stay within the confines of your personal brand. The other aspect regarding the brand protocols is that a brand must always deliver on its promise. When I say a brand delivers on its promise, it's always better to underpromise and overdeliver than to overdeliver and underpromise. We have over 7.8 billion people globally. People are very busy. They immediately position you in their minds. They position you and have a way of positioning everyone and their messaging. So the moment that you decide to promise that I am going to be communicating with you, for example, thrice a week, or this is the quality of my content that I give to you, or this is the quality of my output, the moment you compromise on that, you affect what the brand personality, the brand personal branding is. Your target audience gives you something like a trust account. A trust account is where you deposit and you make withdrawals. And so as a brand, the moment you engage with your audience, they put a trust in you. But the moment you do something that compromises on your authenticity or your brand promise, you are withdrawing from that account. And trust is something that is difficult to win when it has been lost. So that is very critical in terms of the mandatory protocols for a brand or personal branding. I've talked about being very authentic. I've talked about being very consistent. I've talked about delivering on the brand promise. So thank you for the questions that I'm seeing the questions that are coming on the screen, and the chat master will be looking at that so that we can pick up the questions at the end of the session. So why is it important? We have learned what a brand is. We have learned the protocols for a brand. Why is it important to build or to invest in a successful personal brand? Listeners, you can engage me on the chat box by sharing why it is important to build a successful brand. D, you could also put for me that question on the screen. Why is it, you can put for me the question on the screen. You have defined your personal brand. Why is it important to build a successful personal brand? It is something you do over a long time. Why? What are the benefits? I'm waiting for responses. Andrew, why is it important to build a successful personal brand?
Yes. What I would say, why is it important to build a successful personal brand is that your brand is your image and what you want, what you would like to be known for, and exactly how you'd like people to remember you or identify with you. So the importance of it's the importance of having it. It's having an image of yourself and the people around you that will have the similar image of yourself. I read somewhere that we as human beings, we like there's a section of ourselves where it's called a self-preservation. It's a theory by someone Graf, self-preservation. We as human beings are always conscious of what our peers always think about us and what and how they would affect us. So there's the personal brand itself. Uh, for the importance of having it is that it's who you are, it's your identity, and once you feel that you have lost your identity or you have tampered with it, it will your confidence levels are down. Um, you aren't as vocal as you would like to be, or as free as you'd like to be. So it's the importance of just summarizing. Personal branding is just identifying with yourself, being confident in who you are, and being confident in your skin. So that's how I would answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. First, you've summarized it so well. I can see you're paying attention to every word that I shared on this. Bravo. Now, I've seen feedback coming on the screen that it leads to more clients, that it makes it easy to connect. Beautiful. It's more clients. Thank you very much. So I want to just share with you the benefits and why you need to sweat it out in building a personal brand. Number one is that it makes you visible. I have said that we have 7.8 billion people globally, but even within your own area of operation, let's say you are in a company, you are working. When opportunities come, who should be promoted? When you go for a job interview, who should be recruited? And I know you've heard about head hunting. For senior roles, what recruiters do is do what is called head hunting. They know who can do the job that the employer is advertising. Have you paused to ask yourself, how do they figure out? How do they find it? How come some people always are moving jobs, moving to better jobs without much sweat? They're just invited and they're told, please send your application. The reason is that they have built their personal brand. Thank you for the responses that are coming on the screen. Credibility, easier to be trusted, easier to be fulfilling. So the first benefit is that you're visible. Now, if you have a business and you are trying to market your products, your brands, or you're trying to market yourself, as again, I use the example, you are a professional photographer, you are a musician, you want more people to connect with you. You want to build your brand because in the era of the digital age, people can just check out profiles and they can just invite you and say, we have this happening. Could you do it for us? They don't know you, but they go online and they check it out and they check the profile and the work that you have done, and they decide that you meet a job. So visibility is one. Credibility is the second. How do you know who to trust? By being visible and by interacting with the work that you have done, your brand will speak for you before you receive that telephone call inviting you into the room. The other benefit of personal branding is that it increases your influence. When people know what you stand for, then they can be able to follow you. I want to use the example of LinkedIn. And you find there are people with thousands of followers every day. They are waiting. What will this person share? Because they know that information is valuable to them. It means such people have a big influence. I want to give you an example that I have of having watched golf being played and seeing how, even though Tiger Woods has dropped down, sometimes he's number 8, sometimes he's at the top. Yet when you are watching the game being broadcasted, there is little focus on these other guys, these young people who have started winning, who are ahead of him. There isn't much focus. The cameraman is always just checking. Is he frustrated? Did he injure himself? What is the problem? Why is he not doing very well today? He is receiving PR. People have paid to go and watch Tiger Woods play. Why? Because people associate him with success. People also want to enjoy the game he's playing. So when people do that, then they are enjoying influence. And that influence, when he has a big following, means that he can be able to get sponsorships and other opportunities coming through to him. And the last point that I want to put through is that you win. You win. And let me give an example. Have you ever wondered, why does one speaker get to be paid 2.5 million, whether it is in shillings or you can convert that to a dollar, in 1 hour, and another speaker will be paid 50,000 shillings? If he asks for 51, he will not get that job. He is paid 50,000 shillings only. Why? It is because of the personal brand. They equate that value to what the person merits in 1 hour. And so you get to see the value why people have to invest on their brands. Seriously, it is like a business. It is something that you have to take and invest on daily, with you as the head marketer or the chief executive of that brand. You are the chief executive of your own brand, because you are the one who will define what opportunities you get. I want to summarize that by saying, and I want to share statistics, that people who invest in their personal brand earn 10 to 25% more per annum than people who don't invest. Now, over a 10-year period, if somebody is making 10 to 25% more in 1 year, where will they be in 10 years? I know you have seen CEOs who make so much money, and you wonder, isn't that too much? But it's because of their brand. It is what the organization knows. When I hire this person, they'll be able to bring these results in. And finally, audience, I want to take you now through the steps for building a personal brand. Let me thank you for bringing those that feedback. I can see it on the screen. Thank you very much. That has been a very engaging session. I now want to share with you 3 key steps that you can use to build a successful personal brand. So we have defined the personal brand. We have looked at the protocols, the do's and the don'ts. We have looked at why it is important. And I now want to wrap it up by sharing the process or how you can build a successful personal brand. There are 3 steps. The first step is defining the brand. Now we have gone through that exercise. I want to put 2 points there so that it can be very clear what goes into defining the personal brand. Research by Forbes shows that 75% of professionals think that they have defined their brand well. But in reality, only 15% have defined their brand. So how then do you ensure you've defined well? You will sit down and define based on those attributes that I gave you. You also need to audit whether the way you have defined your brand is true. So you can ask people who know you to share with you, to tell you what your brand is all about. Ask for feedback and compare that with what you have. The other aspect is that there's a personality test that you can do. It's called Myers-Briggs. And when you do that test, it will tell you what energizes you. It will tell you more about yourself. And then you can use this to define your brand. The second one is engaging. Once you have defined and put boundaries, it is to put your brand out there. You have to define who your target audience is. Then you have to define how you can access your audience, do a strategy and a plan, and implement the plan and continue improving that strategy as you move forward. So the next step is engaging your audience. But building a successful brand is not something you just do in a year. As long as you live, you continue to build on that brand. Now, there are a lot of changes that come along. The platforms, we know that there is social media. We know that you can do it online. You know, we can do it offline, like in a work environment, that you can do offline. If you're meeting a client, you can do offline because it's about the impressions they have about you as an organization, as a salesperson, or as a resource in that organization. But things keep changing. And so it is imperative for everybody to continue looking for ways to innovate on their brand. A brand is about you adding value to others. So it is imperative then for people to be able to look inside that brand and to see whether the brand is still relevant for them or not. And I know you've had opportunities where you have changed brands. Now that can also happen for personal brands. So a personal brand has to be innovative. It has to be progressive. It has to continue being relevant. That is how you nurture the brand. You continue to look for more networks to be able to engage with your audience more. You look for collaborations and other opportunities through which you can increase your visibility, your credibility, and your influence. And there you have it. Personal branding is really not that complicated. But many times we don't know who we are. And that is where the personal branding starts. So it is upon us then to define that brand and to be very clear why and who are your audience and keep moving with your audience. Andrew, how are we doing on the time?
Yeah, we are doing well with the time. Right now we are at
how many more minutes do I have?
You have like 10 more minutes. Yes.
I have like 10 more minutes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want them to just wrap it up so that we can have time for questions and answers, to say that it's a deliberate effort, but it pays. A research on LinkedIn try to look at the highest, the people with the highest or biggest influence on LinkedIn. And there were three things that were definitely very clear: that they were very visible and engaging daily, that they were communicating things that were relevant to others, and that they were also engaging and giving feedback. They not only, for example, post things, but then they use that opportunity to share and give feedback to others who are following them. When somebody comments, they would provide feedback. There you have it. I would want to use the opportunity now. I know I've been talking a lot, to be able to dialogue more with you on any question that you may have.
Okay, thank you so much, Betty, for that very, very enlightening session on personal branding. Here are my claps from this side. And yes, so far we have learned so much, and I think what you've said about personal branding, about being the authentic self, always being consistent on what type of brand exactly you want to be, defining your brand, just building an identity of exactly what you want to be, and pursuing it, and not wavering, and not wavering on who you want to be and what type of image you want to portray for yourself. Thank you for the necessary steps of defining the brand, the protocols of having the brand, and of course, the importance of having that brand and the process of developing that brand. Thank you so much, Betty. And I have, as you see here, I have two questions that I will ask Betty. It's shown on your screen right now. Did you ever have different interests in your career, and how did you consolidate that into your brand strategy? Betty, could you answer that for us?
Thank you very much. I want to put it that life is not linear. Sometimes you just want to connect a straight line from A to Z, but you have to pass through B, C, D. And as you pass through this, it becomes more clear. The late Steve Jobs, when he dropped out in Stanford University, he took a stenciling course. He did not know how that would add value to him later. He was just looking for something to do that would be beneficial. It is that stenciling course that enabled us to enjoy all the fonts that we now have, that we can write in a style that we want to do. Now, for many listeners here, you may not be familiar that we had a very limited option on fonts when computers arrived, but he was able to revolutionize that. And I want to put it across that no matter which direction you take, life always connects you back to your purpose and to your destiny. Back to the question that you asked me, did you ever have different interests in your career? I know I started off before university thinking I'd be a teacher. I went into sales and marketing. I went into business and marketing consultancy. And now I'm in the area of people development. But I'm finding that my core is equipping and inspiring people. That is my core. How do all the other things that have connected with build in? The sales, the marketing, the consultancy, serving in senior leadership positions, all those have come in to play in how I engage with my stakeholders, in how I teach, in how I market myself. So never discount anything that you have done and think that it is not valuable. Always follow your purpose, your passions, and your instincts. You might be somewhere right now, and with the high unemployment that we are having and people losing jobs, there might be no relationship between what you do and what your passion is. I would still urge you to continue doing what you're doing as you try and find a link between what you like and what you're currently doing, and it will work out at one point. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Betty. Take home equipping and inspiring people, being passionate of exactly what you want to be. Those are very inspiring words. And as I go to the next question, as we grow, interests change or we discover ourselves better. Is this a challenge for personal branding? Each time you feel that as a youth growing up, you feel I want to do this, but in the end, it doesn't work out really. So you choose something else. Maybe you might have 2 or 3 tries, but eventually, you find what you find exactly what you're looking for. So, how how is the process, or how challenging is this journey? How challenging has this journey been for you, Betty? You mentioned that you wanted to be a teacher, and then you changed, you went into sales and marketing, and now you're a personal branding coach, and you inspire youths like us. How has your journey been, and what are the challenges you faced during that time? Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, again for a great question. And I don't know, I almost feel like these questions, you know me so much. I feel like you know me as a speaker, because truly there was a time in my life when I found myself running on 4 lanes. And at some point, it was a bit confusing. I had to pause and ask myself, who am I? What am I here doing? It was very easy, very earlier to say, I build brands, I grow businesses. That is what sales and marketing does. When I moved into consultancy, it was still very easy and clear, because I was doing what I was doing in a corporate world, but adding value to a wide range of clients. But when I stepped into coaching, consultancy, speaking, training, it sounded like a mouthful. And at some point, it's like, what am I? And I know sometimes you find yourself in that place. For some people, it might be very clear, but for others, it might take time as you try and unearth what is common in all these things, and does that speak to your DNA. And I think, Andrew, as I sit here sharing on personal branding, I'm still finding myself in the role of a teacher. And some of these things may look like they are confusing you, but you may need to step aside and take time. Just take a week or 2 weeks and just try and unpack all this and find out, how does it all connect together. It is also helpful sometimes to speak to a coach or to a mentor. They can help you in those particular areas. As I said, even if you stray out of your personal brand because circumstances may force you, I started by saying we are all part of this grand universe. And the universe is so gracious. If you are aligned with the universe, it will always pull you back to what your purpose is. And it will always open up opportunities for you in what your purpose is. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Thank you so much, Betty, for that enlightening answer. Yes, and we can now swiftly go to our last question. I'm sorry, we're running out of time, viewers, but let me just jump into the last question. How can I present myself as I am and respect personality without overthinking what others think of me? Let me repeat that. How can I present myself as I am and respect personality without overthinking what others think of me? Betty, how would you answer that?
Thank you again, Andrew, and thank you to the listener who raised that question. This question, I think, is in 2 parts because it's talking about respecting my personality without overthinking what others think about me. I want to deal with the first part, which is presenting myself as I am. You are you. Let the world respect you for who you are. Whatever skills, passions, talents, experiences, knowledge you have, Somebody somewhere out there needs it. You know, the traditional system might have said that you have to follow a particular line. You may need to be an engineer. You may need to be a doctor. Heck, you may just love and be passionate about cooking. If that is you, that is you. That is the thing that is inside you that comes out best. I say that a brand has to be authentic. If you try and be somebody else, you will not win this thing, because nature has aligned a pathway for you to follow. And if you follow that pathway, you will succeed. Now, the issue of personality. Personality, I want to just say that I may not understand fully the issue on the personality, but personality must work for your brand. Um, Let me just say that you have to be very cautious. There are people who just say, let the world accept me for who I am. I think that at times also is not being very careful, because remember, when you are a brand, you don't speak from here and address the audience down there. As a brand, people will not accept you. People are only willing to engage with you when they know who you are and what you stand for. If you talk from here, I know it all, and this is me, take me or leave it, you are forcing yourself to an audience. They don't have an obligation to accept you. You're trying to win. Influence is people buying into you, not you pushing yourself into people. So on the issue of the personality, because it's a broad question, you must ask yourself, is it in line with your brand? Is it working with your audience? On the issue of overthinking, what others think about me, there's something called people's opinions. If you play by people's opinions, you will never do anything. You must check with yourself. Is that what you want to do? Let me put it this way though. If you're posting anything online, before you click send, please ask yourself, is it meant for my audience? Is it adding value to them? That is really very critical, because it's not a push, it's a pull strategy. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Personality must work for your brand. That's a powerful take home. And yes, I think we can move swiftly to the next question from our viewers. What advice would you give to change impressions of your brand, with your brand, if your brand receives some negative feedback due to lack of marketing or lack of enough communication? What advice would you
Okay.
give to, yeah, okay, I think I can just say it once. Then Betty, yes, how do you feel about that question?
Okay. So I'm not sure here whether the listener was referring to a personal brand or to a corporate brand, because we're talking here about personal branding. And if it's a corporate brand, let me start with corporate brand first, is that you must always be very careful. It's very expensive to try and correct a brand, the way a brand is defined or is seen in the market. If people think you are a cheap brand, for example, and you're trying to charge people a lot of money, it becomes very difficult to break that ceiling, because people will always associate you with a low tier brand. So it's very important that you think about this brand, the way we say DEN, you define it, then you engage. Now, your question is coming from where people now are feeling you're not engaging. They're saying lack of marketing or lack of communication. I think we are all grateful that internet has revolutionized things. If one had to pay for a television ad or a radio ad or a newspaper ad, newspaper page would go for about 800,000, let me use Kenya shillings. It's a lot of money. But now online has given us opportunity to be able to do that at a fraction of the cost. So there is now very little reason not to be able to use the available platforms to be able to position and to market your brand. Let me address the last part, which is saying there is negative feedback. Every brand nowadays has to check online. What are people saying? Whether you are a service provider for internet, whether you are a medical service provider, there has to be people who check what people are saying online about your brand, because in a fraction of a minute, it can be turned around and everybody discredits you as a hopeless vendor. So when you have picked that there's some negative feedback, you need to respond to it, to that feedback. If somebody is complaining the service is not good, then you need to respond to that and pick that issue and address it. From a bigger brand perspective, though, it draws you to step behind and look at it in terms of what are the issues, and then how then do you reposition yourself? Do you need to rebrand yourself? Do you need to have testimonials around your brand? I want to end with this, Andrew. Remember, we started by saying, what are people saying about you when we defined a brand? I want to encourage the person who asked this question by saying, put your effort in getting others to talk about your brand favorably. That way, it is more believable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Betty, for that wonderful take. And yeah, I think that's all the questions we can have for now. And yeah, thank you for the take home on personal branding, on creating an identity, being and also yeah, and also the feedback that we've gotten from our viewers has been eye-opening. We have learned so much during this period. And yes, I think for now we would say thank you so much, Betty, for the wonderful session. And we will now go to our next segment. We are going to take 15 minutes of meditating. For those who are new to meditation, this is just a short, calm period. You just have a seat. You keep your mind at ease. It's an interesting experience for those who haven't experienced it yet. So yes, I think we have Nandi. I'll introduce Nandi. Is our Heartfulness trainer. She's from South Africa, and she will be taking us through the meditation session for about 15 minutes. And then from then on, we'll have just a few closing remarks, and we'll end the session. So Nandi, you can take the stage, and welcome. Thank you so much. Yes. Nandi, are you able to hear me? Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Am I audible? Go ahead. I'm just having difficulty hearing everyone, but I'm hopeful that you can hear me. What a pleasure and honor to be amongst these wonderful young people looking to better themselves and to learn about themselves and to make a difference in the different societies and places from which they come. So I'm just hoping from what has been spoken about. Is there something that you'd like to say?
Yes. I think there's a short problem with your audio. You seem to be cracking up a bit. Maybe you try adjust the computer in a way. Okay, maybe we could try it out again. Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better?
Yes,
can you hear me
I can
now?
hear you. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Not sure what I can do. Let me try and see. I'm gonna have to just mute myself for a second. How's that sound now?
It's still cracking up a bit. Okay, but maybe we can just continue. We'll try our best to be keen on the words you're saying. Although it's cracking up a bit, sorry for the technical hitch, but just bear with us. And I think, Nandi, you can just take the stage, and we hope all will be well. Thank you.
Can you, how is it sounding now? Is it better?
Yes, yes, yes. It's much better. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Please just stop me at any time and just maybe wave your hand at me because I've taken off my video and I think maybe that's making the connection a bit better. So yeah, if you can't hear me, please just wave.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for this the wonderful opportunity, and it's wonderful to be in a space with many young people looking to better themselves and looking to make a difference in the communities from which they come. So thank you very much. Just in maybe continuing on from the discussions and maybe the topic at hand. I would like to take you through some relaxation and meditation. Just as a way to continue, I guess the personal work that we are all wanting to do for ourselves as we better ourselves and as we grow. It's also important to look after the self even more in how we prepare ourselves as we begin our days and how we manage conflict, how we manage our homes and how we manage love, how we manage humanity as a whole, and how we conduct ourselves, and really how just to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. I think with so many things happening in the world and so many distractions and distortions of things, sometimes it's difficult, or it's we don't make the time to really connect with ourselves. So with the organization, the nonprofit organization that we're with, Heartfulness, it's a spiritual and well-being, I could say, institute, and the goal is to touch and one heart at a time through meditation, maybe giving people tools with which to try and live better lives, to try and connect with yourself more, to try and get to know yourself better, and in turn being able to give of yourself and to give more to others, and really just kind of filtering some positiveness and some love into the spaces that we live in, that is so much needed. And I think as you journey on in terms of bettering yourselves, there's nothing better than also knowing that you know yourself well, or you're connected to yourself well also. So I'm not going to take up too much time with the talking, but I'll just kind of take you through what the relaxation and the meditation would entail. Briefly, the relaxation, I'd just like everyone to be comfortable. You can just sit yourself in a comfortable position with your feet firmly on the ground, and you're going to just sit back and allow yourself to listen to my voice and to listen to my prompts. And I will take you through different processes. And at the end of it, we will have some time where we are completely silent, and that will maybe be just a few minutes. When we are done with that, you will hear me say, "That's all." And that will mean the end of our meditation. I would like for you, maybe when you hear that, to just take some time before you open your eyes to gently just bring yourself to the present and bring yourself to where you are. Feel yourself, feel your feet, feel your whole body, and just take some time to recognize and to understand, or just to realign yourself to what that feeling feels like. And hopefully this is a feeling that you can kind of take with you through the rest of the day. So yeah, maybe let's begin. The best way to do it is to experience it. So I'd like everyone, please, to sit as comfortably as possible. We're going to all gently close our eyes. As you close your eyes, take your attention down to your feet. Wiggle your feet. Establish your feet firmly. And just imagine the healing energy of Mother Earth moving up to your ankles. This energy is moving up your legs and your knees, up to your thighs and your hips. Your legs are feeling relaxed. Imagine this energy is moving up to your stomach. Any anxiety or any knots or stress you might be feeling in your stomach is flowing out, flowing away. This energy is moving up the sides of your body. It's moving up your chest, your shoulders, the energy is moving up your back, your arms, your lower arms, all the way down to your hands and your fingers. Your whole body is feeling completely relaxed. The energy is moving up your neck, the sides of your neck, behind your ears, your forehead, your cheeks, your nose, your lips, your chin. Your whole body is now completely relaxed. Let's take our attention now to our hearts. Imagine a beautiful divine light is pulling you inward into your heart. We all have this beautiful light, this divine light. We're going to meditate on this light, keeping our attention on our hearts. If your mind wanders, it's okay. Just bring yourself gently back to your heart. We will stay here for a few minutes. Please start meditation. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nandi, for that wonderful session. It was very peaceful, very enlightening. The soul, my soul is at rest. I feel I'm very relaxed. Thank you so much. And we finally come to a close on our session. I would like to thank you, the viewers, for being part of us this lovely afternoon from wherever you are. If you're in Kenya, South Africa, India, thank you for joining us. And I'd also like to thank Heartfulness for giving us also this platform to be able to talk about personal branding and also reconnecting with our true self through meditation. And also I'd like to give much gratitude to our speaker, Betty Keitany Koech, for that beautiful session. It has been wonderful. It has been enlightening. We have learned a lot, and yes, I believe that we have learned, or we have gained something since we plugged in this session. And for my final closing remarks, you could get this video on YouTube. You could also have access to it on Facebook. If you have any other further questions, we will have a follow-up email on the session. And yes, we'd like to hear from you, and we'd like to get to enjoy some of the feedback that you will give us, and we will learn from the feedback that you give us. And I'd like to give Betty some few closing remarks, what she'd like to say, and then from then on we could close the session. And lastly, follow us on our Heartfulness Facebook pages that are available in our respective countries. There's Heartfulness Africa. There's subscribe to our YouTube channels. And yes, we look forward to hearing from you and learning more from you. So Betty, can you give us final closing remarks, and we can end the session? Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Once again, I want to appreciate all the listeners who've tuned in on Zoom and also on Facebook Live. Our journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And always remember that fear is what starts between you and success. I know we have audiences at different levels. Maybe there are those who are still in school, some in college, some are working. But personal branding, the moment you understand what it is, you start cultivating it from where you are. As I said, the Creator put something in you that somebody else needs. You need to find out what that is, nurture it, and bring it out to engage with your audience. I wish you success in your endeavors. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Betty, Nandi, and every stakeholder and every viewer who's been with us. And yes, I think we can close the meeting at that. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, protect yourself during this pandemic. And yeah, I hope to see you soon again. Thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.